Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the group stages of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament. Today, in what I believe is the Slime group, we have NESCardinality versus Xarnax42, two extraordinary veterans of the game who have been here since the very beginning and who have an exceptional record, mentioned earlier by Aaron to you too. They were the 2 and 3 seeds in the tournament last year, and so this is going to be an awesome race played by awesome racers. I am joined here in the booth by Lafkian. How are you feeling about this one, Lafkian?
Oh, I'm very excited about this. You said it best yourself there. NESCardinality and Xarnax42 have been around since the very beginning, about as experienced as any two runners can possibly get, and so this should be a very good race. However, it appears there are some challenges in their near future. Looking at those stats here, oh boy.
Yeah, that 5 strength start is going to make killing anything other than a slime and a red slime tricky, so they're going to hope for like a torch or a fairy water or something like that to help things out.
Yeah, let's see what the king has tucked away in the throne room here. We know there's guaranteed to be a key on the backside here. We got some gold and we have a cursed belt, so that gives us a little bit of information that can be sold. But for now, not terribly useful. But that gold might be useful. We'll have to see if there's a town outside nearby.
Yeah, that's good hand axe money, which is obviously an easy way to get off the ground if there is a nearby town.
Indeed. And we see a nearby cave, and it looks like NESCard's just going to go ahead and beeline for that.
Yeah, now they do have the sleep spell, and so in trying to explore the world, they may have a little bit of a better opportunity moving forward.
I want to say this is tablet.
Well, we just had an encounter, so I'm thinking it's Swamp South, based upon how long he just traveled down. Or Swamp North, I mean.
That would be correct.
So NESCardinality, upon death, you lose half your gold, and so he was like, I haven't gotten any experience yet, I don't want to lose this money. So he's gone ahead and gone and reset, re-grabbed his gear, and now he's going to go check out, or he's probably going to go save the game, is what I would assume is going to happen. That way, anytime he dies, he can just reset instead.
Yeah, and I like this for another reason. He rolled a little bit low. He's rolled a little bit low again on his chest. I believe they roll 500 to 750. And now he at least has money for a hand axe should he come across a town. That would be pretty huge, especially given the poor strength start.
Yeah, on the other side, I'll mention Xarnax had some fun there. He got across Swamp Cave, managed to run into a stone man, which is easy to sleep, and was able to get away from that, making good use of the sleep. Then proceeded a couple steps later to run into an Axe Knight. He tried to sleep it, which is the best odds chance you had of getting away, but it did not work, and so he went back to start.
Yeah, very unfortunate, and now finding out that Demon Knights also have Deal 2 Breath, but here it is. You go west, you go southeast, and you miss everything, and oh, nope, just Hawksness.
Hawksness, good stuff. It's always Hawksness. And the Magicians have a little bit of Spicy Breath.
Yeah, just that regular Dragon Breath, but as we are still on level 1, even with decent HP, that is still a potential one-shot waiting to happen, so lots and lots of resets starting the beginning of this seed.
Xarnax does get down that ghost using sleep and ship strategies, so he's only 1 experience away from seeing what's in what's at level 2.
Yeah, we're getting closer here. NESCard also making his first kill with our first Kaisha no Ichigeki to make sure that he takes out that Drakey.
Now, it's an interesting little anomaly of the game that at 5 strength exactly, rather than doing chip damage that's 50-50 to hit or miss like you do against monsters that have really high defense. At exactly 5 strength, you are actually only a 33% chance to do damage to that Drakey, so it's actually a better chance to go kill a ghost than it is a Drakey.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. Xarnax, meanwhile, has found coal, and we see the Stones of Sunlight are the free item there.
Yeah, obviously Xarnax is probably hoping for something a little better. He sees the hand axe here. I wonder if he's thinking about resetting, and as I say that, he resets. So he's going to take that hand axe money and take it all the way to Cole to go grab it.
He's got to roll hand axe money first, so hopefully he gets a good roll off that treasure chest. Meanwhile, NESCard is going to be the first to level 2. 9, 2, 1, 10. Heal and hurt more. All right, we're off to the races.
Yeah, NESCardinality using the strategy that's been recently talked about a lot in the Discord of just crit. And if you just crit all the time, you don't have to worry about any of these other details, as he's gotten all 6 of experience through critical hit kills.
Yeah, seriously, just Kaishin. And so this is a little bit unfortunate, as Xarnax is not going to get as much of an advantage out of this hand axe as he otherwise might assume, and he will figure that out pretty quickly. So we'll just have to see how things go from here.
Yeah, the good news is, with like Sharlock level monsters that don't necessarily go down to a single hurt more, having that hand axe can allow you to do like 6 or 7 damage versus like 1 or 2, and be able to finish them off after that hurt more. So their hand axe isn't completely useless.
Absolutely, yeah. It is important to note that the potential follow-up there, if the Hurtmore fails to get the kill, is pretty important. NESCardinality, Hurtmore and Goldman. I don't think that we've seen this before 3.0.
Yeah, in 3.0, the Goldman went up from being 255 gold to being 650 gold, which means that now Hurtmore and Goldman is a legitimate gold grinding strategy. I've seen multiple races already where people have used Goldman to grind to like the magic armor.
So NESCard thinking about picking up the hand axe, but decides to go for the half plate instead. I like this play, as of course, with that Hurtmore spell, I mean, against Sharlock enemies, you're not going to get the perfect one shot, but I agree that the half plate is much better value in this position.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like anybody, you go in and, offense! And then, as a veteran player, he goes, wait, I've got plenty of offense already with my Hurtmore. Let's do something so I have more chances to cast that Hurtmore.
Betastrap noting he could have sold the belt to get the hand axe, but just opts to buy some herbs instead. So, I like this. He's still got enough gold to hit the end a couple of times, and we see wyverns out here, so that's going to be an amazing source of experience.
Honestly, I'm actually surprised that NESCardinality didn't take that Hurtmore and go straight to Hawksness. You have the chance of finding a green dragon. Or I guess at 24 HP you wouldn't be able to pull off the Green Dragon or the Axe Knight without getting a one-shot, but still, that has the opportunity to unlock something major with Hurtmore early on.
Absolutely, yeah. With Hurtmore, you always want to be thinking about checking the Hawksness Spiketail sooner rather than later. But if there are other really nice Hurtmoreable enemies here around Cantlin, you might want to get that experience just so you get that HP a little bit higher. Like you said, you don't want to be getting... you want to be able to tank at least one hit from whatever's waiting for you in Hawksness. And also, I mean, these zones are just really juicy so far.
Xarnax finally getting his grind started after obtaining that hand axe and getting back, managing to take out the Drakey with no problem this time around.
Oh no, NESCard getting ambushed by a green dragon, and unfortunately rolled near minimum on the Hurtmore, so not able to capitalize on that potential experience gain.
Yeah, but that extra level, as we were just saying, allowed him to absorb one of those green dragon hits, which now gives him a little more of an opportunity to potentially take down that Hawksness monster if it's a green dragon or an Axe Knight.
Absolutely. Now, though, we do see NESCard prioritizing, it looks like, exploration, and just trying to make use of that Hurtmore spell while uncovering things on the map. And we've seen quite a few towns already. Everything seems to be clustered rather close to start.
Xarnax saw that Goldman, and I'm sure his eyes just lit up, and then the Goldman surprise attacked him, sent him home, and he, rather than getting 650 gold, lost 5. And on NESCardinality screen, we get the Magiwyvern kill with Hurtmore, which is Magiwyvern is the single best Hurtmore target because it has no resist and it is guaranteed to cover the hit point range. So it is a guaranteed one-shot kill with Hurtmore, which is and gives the most experience of any monster for whom that's true.
Absolutely, yeah. And unfortunately, these levels have been rather underwhelming since we got Hurtmore. I want to say we've gotten a total of about 5 HP over the last 5 levels, but the MP is at least there, so definitely plenty of ammunition for these Hurtmores.
Yeah, and honestly, in this kind of situation, I'd probably take the MP over the attack power because getting these first levels is a pretty big deal in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, the HP will come, but I can kill a lot more in one trip with this. Xarnax now advancing to level 4, skipping level 3 altogether because of the juiciness of that Droll Magi.
Yeah, someone in chat was noting that all the Sharlock enemies, all the good enemies, are striking first, with the agility being what it is also, unfortunately, a little bit garbage. We're going to be seeing that happen more and more often here. I mean, NESCardinality now on level 6 with just 20 agility. Oof.
Yeah, we've seen a few races this tournament already where we've had people have to go into Sharlock at agility in the 40s, and it is not a fun time. So they are very much hoping for some substantial increases in agility at this point.
Yeah, both of our runners taking simultaneous deaths from Star Wyverns, the strongest form of Wyvern, and again, another Sharlock enemy. Very unfortunate, but it is kind of expected more or less, and so now NESCard's going to pick a different direction. Oh, alright, we are going to go ahead and check the Sharlock spike tile here. I like this play. Oh boy.
Hurtmore ain't gonna help with that one.
Yeah, it is going to be a while before we figure out what, if anything, is buried there. I'm going to need definitely some better weaponry in order to take that on, but it's always good to have that information as soon as you can possibly get it. And with this being Swamp North, I imagine NESCard's going to beeline for... Oh, no.
Well, the good news is that so far we haven't seen any Oh, never mind. We have seen skills from the Red Dragon, and they are not going to be fun ones to deal with.
Oh boy. The one benefit is that they do already have stop spells. So if these Red Dragons have spawned with low stop spell resistance, it could be a nice idea to have in your back pocket for your grind later on. But for now, oof.
Now, on NESCard's screen, one thing that's actually a little disappointing is that on his way to the Red Dragon, he didn't encounter anything else in Sharlock. He made the clean walk there, because you'd like to see a few monsters from that Sharlock zone. Who knows if it's a nice place to grind or not.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to say, before we were seeing a lot of resets from our players, I want to say NESCard saw an Axe Knight in Swamp North. But I'm not sure. I did not see that on my screen myself, so not going back in to look for them. So going to be trying to look for other places to grind that experience out.
And so here you're seeing NESCardinality. Of course, with all this MP, it doesn't matter, but having to throw 2 Hurtmores at the Star Wyvern because he has no way of doing any extra damage after that first Hurtmore gets him almost all the way down.
Yeah, it is very fortunate that, the other stats lacking so far, the MP has been doing wonders, and Xarnax about to get the bad information that he can't kill the Hoxus monster yet, but the zone inside Hoxus looking a little bit friendly, at least so far.
Yeah, that Spectre is a really juicy monster at these levels because it can't do a whole lot of damage. It obviously goes down to 1 Hurtmore, and it's not that fast, it's not whatever. It's an easy one to kill without killing you if something goes awry, and allows you to just rack up the experience.
Exactly, and Xarnax got the bad news in the most kick them while they're down way possible. Back attack slept by that red dragon. Meanwhile, NESCard getting yet another level 7-1-1-24. So the agility continues to trickle in, but the MP just exploding.
Yeah, it's one of those points where, as I said, you really like to have that MP, but there is a point where you're like, all right, can we change, redirect some of these stat points?
Yeah, it would be nice, maybe trade in like 10 MP for 1 point of agility or something like that. I could definitely afford to lose a little bit there, but just gotta make use of what you have here, and taking out the green dragon with 1 shot. Very, very nice there from NESCard.
I want to say that's about a 30% chance to do that, something along those lines. I haven't run the numbers myself, but I think I saw someone mention that in Discord. And as Vegastrip mentions in chat, that NESCardinality has a skill in menuing that is second to none. Very impressive in his ability to get the pointer from one place to another, which sounds like a silly thing, but it is such a massive, massive skill that adds up substantially.
Absolutely. I mean, you definitely want to be saving as many frames as you possibly can, and we've all seen NESCard work his magic with the manipulated Dragon Warrior 1 speedrun. So yes, if you're going to rely on anyone to have crispy menuing, it's going to be NESCard. So unfortunately at this point here, we're about 16 minutes into this race, and while we do have plenty of experience, plenty of Hurtmores to go around, plenty of ways to kill some of these monsters, we haven't actually explored that much yet. We have seen Swamp, and we've seen a few towns. I want to say Breckenary, Hawksness, Cantlin, and Cole. Everything, again, pretty much right next to start. But having a bit of a problem getting out of like these first few screens around Tantagel. Just too many Sherlock monsters and not enough agility.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that neither of our players has gone back across Swamp Cave yet. I know at least Xarnax, we went across, he found a Stoneman, then he saw an Axe Knight, and then it was over. But, he can deal with Stoneman with the sleep, and he can deal with Axe Knights with the Hurtmore.
I believe this is a new town here on NESCard's screen. If so, it would have to be, I believe, either Rimeldar or Garenham.
There's our hit points.
Yeah, good hit points, good power, and okay, this is Breckenary, which Xarnax had seen before, so nothing new yet in terms of what neither of our runners know.
Yeah, chat making a good point that level 2 Hurtmore is actually, as a runner, I hate getting Hurtmore that early, especially level 2 versus level 1, because there's just so many things that can happen, and it's harder to make those little optimal grinding decisions that you can have an edge over your opponent in when you both can just blast everything. And so it actually adds a little more chaotic variance to the race, which when you're a top runner, of course, then again, if there's 2 top runners going against each other, maybe it doesn't matter so much, but when you're a top runner, you want less of that chaotic variance and more of the ability to utilize your optimal decision making instead.
Absolutely, and it also comes down to one of those things where who finds the really juicy zones first, who gets the better damage rolls, things of that nature. And like you said, with two experienced veterans here, you can see NESCard has a slight advantage in experience, which you might expect given the fact that he got hurt more first, but Xarnax is not very far behind, and we know that these endgame grinds can go really, really, really fast, and 300 experience doesn't really mean much yet. However, NESCard finding the grave, that is pretty important. Oh, go ahead.
Doesn't find a lot in the top, but does find that second cursed belt. Now, we know there was an item in coal, but this does mean that there's at least an item in Hawkson's or on the coordinates at this point.
And now... Oh, right, we don't have keys yet. I was going to say it remains to be seen whether or not NESCard's going to dive, but we need keys in order to do that, so just going to walk his way back out.
Yeah, I'm a firm proponent of always dive grave, but I do think that not having keys is a reasonable reason not to.
Hurtmore works on many things, but unfortunately not doors.
We've got blue dragons in stereo that both of our runners managed to get away from at this point, which is not a easy feat given how low their agility is. They're still only I think 25% to run from blue dragons. So that was a nice fortune for both of them as well. Meanwhile, NESCardinality also finds Sharlock, so at least that won't be a exploration issue at the very end of the seed.
So Xarnax now getting a confirmation that there are two cursed belts out there and not a whole lot else waiting to be found in the grave. And so I believe at this point the exploration is more or less a tie between these two runners. They all have found the same locations, the same information.
Yeah, as soon as Xarnax pops down here and sees Sharlock, then they are completely on equal footing.
And DW Edit, looking at the comment in chat, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't know that you're going to get hurt more on level 2. You don't know you're going to get anything at level 2, or even how you're going to get to level 2 when you only have 5 strength. So, yeah, once you see that hand axe is available and it's not too far away from start, you absolutely, reset and go get that. And we were talking about it, it still can confer some advantages later on, where you might be able to just follow up on your hurt more against something like a green dragon and take that out while still saving some of your MPs. So good play early on. Didn't quite work out, but could work out better down the line.
Yeah, one of the fun things about a game that's quite this high variance is that you can make good decisions. Just like in poker, you can make really good decisions, and sometimes you just get rivered. Xarnax has been, this is the second blue dragon that he's going at. He does a double hurt more on one, and it seems to be very high on the sleep cast, or at least 50% on the sleep cast, and so he stop spelled it, and he's going to try to kill them all. Doing a substantial job of making up an experience gap with it.
Absolutely. Oh dear, the full wombo out of the blue dragons. That's really unfortunate. I do kind of wonder whether or not Xarnax feels a little bit behind, given the fact that he did do all those reset shenanigans to try to get that hand axe. Either way, making good use of the tools that he has available to try to get as much experience as possible, but unfortunately, like you said, you make all the right decisions, and sometimes it still doesn't work out.
And NESCardinality finally getting his hand axe now that he's come across Cole, and so our gear is more or less even now.
Yeah, NESCard with slightly more defense power owing to that agility and that half plate over the chainmail, but other than that, the gear and the exploration pretty much even for both of our runners. I do think now that we might be at the point... Now, obviously, NESCard draws maps, so he'll know what he hasn't seen on that first continent yet, but I feel like sooner rather than later, we're going to see our runners go through Swamp Cave and see what they can see on the other side, because I think that's where they're going to start finding progression.
Yeah, absolutely. Ziggy mentions in chat, the Reds have Sleep and the Blues have the Wombo combo, and so Charlotte could end up becoming a thing, and the good news about it is that they have ridiculously high agility in order to combat that Charlotte, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is a shoo-in.
I mean, it does feel like that means it's an Armor and Charlock seed, but...
DW, I believe NESCard has already gone northwest, and so yeah, we see... Yeah, NESCard has pretty much exhausted the first continent and now is doing exactly what I thought he would do, which is attempt to get to the other side of Swamp Cave here. And Xarnax now hitting level 10, so both of our runners on the same level, and confirm there are Axe Knights here in the Swamp Cave.
Xarnax has opted to stop exploring at the moment and just grind, which is something that he's been known to do from time to time. Let's grind and to make our exploration a lot easier, rather than try to kind of push through.
Yeah, with the agility being what it is and so many Charlock monsters out on the map, I do like this play, although it's always been, I mean, the choice you always have to be making is, do I stop somewhere and grind or do I explore? And I mean, I feel like Xarnax has done about as good as he can in terms of trying to explore, but unfortunately, NESCard now with a pretty killer advantage.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, all the progression seem to be across swamp, and so not only is he going to find keys right here, but there is a cave right behind it, which not only means that, there's somewhere else for him to explore, but it also means with these keys, if that cave is, say, the mountain cave, he could do a death warp, potentially a gold grind, and get himself some really top-end gear in Cantlin. Having said that, given what these, how skilled both these players are, they may be less inclined to do a gold grind because of the amount of time it absorbs. With Hurt More, knowing how quickly people can get off, the other runner can get off the ground, that extra however many minutes, or the extra 2 minutes doing a gold grind and setting all that up, could really cost a race.
Absolutely, although on NESCardinality's side, I'm not sure, we did see Xarnax check Hawksness. I don't think that Xarnax has yet checked the Swamp Spike tile. NESCard, knowing that it's red dragons on both spike tiles, might motivate him towards doing that gold grind, because you know that there is no way to get really, really fast experience. But again, we'll just have to wait and see what he just decides to do. Level 11, pretty gigantic.
Yeah, there's some strength, there's some HP, but there is still no agility. But we're seeing our HP and our MP both getting in those orange, so we're starting to think, hey, in-game stats and agility is still lower than some seeds start with.
Absolutely, yeah. 29 agility on level 11 is generally not something that you want to see. And NESCard very quickly making his way through what I must have been Tablet Cave. My goodness, I blinked and I missed it.
Yeah, that was a fast, smooth trip through the Tablet Cave, which is completely expected, given specifically NESCardinality's ability to not just Dark Walk, but Dark Walk without even bonking. We do see that the Stonemen have hurt more. NESCardinality misses back-to-back sleeps on them, and so will go home without being able to further the exploration on the second continent.
Yeah, I'm not sure if NESCard got back attacked or not. That might have been... Yeah, okay, chat is confirming that was 3 misses. I believe that's a 1 in 125 chance. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 8, so... That's, yeah, Beta Shop mentioning 1 in 512. Even worse.
Well, we did want to come back to Tangential at some point in order to check the treasury, which had really nothing of consequence at all, but always good to know for sure. And now we are going to get a look at what's in the basement. Looks like we have Mountain Cave down here, so still a chance for a gold grind.
Well, we have a harp already, so that's 2 of our 3 key items. And now we'll have to pay careful attention on this next floor because all the chests will be glitch text, and so we may see some really interesting things, and we'll have to wait till later to find out exactly what they are.
Yeah, that's correct. Between the 3 chests that get loaded up when you go to the throne room, the 4 in the treasury, and the 1 picked up on the top floor, that is 8 chests, and we have activated that chest glitch. So we could be seeing some fun things here, like the red, for example. Or we could see money.
So in this situation, it's an interesting decision because he's grinding the money right now, and he's got a lot of offense, a lot of survivability at this point. But at the same time, you have outside, can get out of here with that money. Another decision could be to go ahead and check all the other chests, then come back to this one to grind it once you know you're not going to lose half of it from a death.
Exactly. The order in which the chests were searched may be a little bit unfortunate, only in the sense that you do obviously not want to orphan these last 3 chests, but every step you take, you could, risk losing that money. But as long as we can get these 3 chests and get out after doing the gold grind, then NESCardinality should be in a really good spot here. And going back to what you were talking about before, it looks like he is opting to go ahead and do that gold grind. I personally like this play, if only because getting that magic armor and that silver shield is going to boost your defense by a lot. In a low agility seed, that can make a lot of difference.
Yeah, and you were totally right when you mentioned the red dragons maybe being a substantial factor in that. I did a little head nod. Oh yeah, that's a really good point over here when you mentioned that. Oh, I hadn't seen this before. Maybe... Oh, we got the clothes. Nice. Demon Knights have DL2 breath. And that is our third cursed belt.
Yeah, NESCard dropped a cursed belt, picked up a cursed belt, so now We know that all 3 search spots are populated. We are going to need to check those coordinates. We are going to need to kill that red dragon at some point. And we already know that Cole had the scones, so 2 search spots left to check.
And we have a frozen screen just in time to find out what was, to miss what was behind the cave. Wings, it appears to be.
Alrighty, so nothing terribly of consequence in those last few chests. A little bit of information, but that's about it. And NESCard successfully makes the walk down to Cantlin, and seeing in chat that we hadn't quite seen all the big ticket purchases available there, but there is a flame sword at least.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, when you know Cantlin's nearby, because I'm not sure that any shop was checked, but the top one for NESCardinality, when you know Cantlin's nearby, you just kind of run on the assumption it's going to have everything and just go ahead and grind.
Meanwhile, over on Xarnax's screen, we do see that he has, for the first time in this race, taken the experience lead. So a little bit of foreshadowing there in terms of whether or not the grinds could confer a slight disadvantage. And the thing that Xarnax could potentially do now, if level 12 happens to be a big one, maybe conferring, for example, heal more, he could potentially try to take this red dragon out. I have to imagine that's what he's planning.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on it before, but this, somebody needed to check out this grind zone, because all we had seen so far in Hawksness was the Spectre, and now we're seeing not only do we have a Spectre, we have Rogue Scorpions, we have Star Wyverns, and so this is a really good grind zone, and Xarnax has kind of been wandering everywhere trying to find a good grind zone, and so now he's finally come across a good one.
Absolutely.
And I think he's going to try stop spell strats on this red dragon and see what happens.
I like this play. It remains to be seen how often these red dragons actually cast sleep, but so far it's looking like a 75%. This could be huge.
We don't know what's behind the sleep either, so it's possible there could be even more good stuff behind the sleep, a hurt more.
Absolutely. So far, just seeing that sleep and the 52 damage. My goodness.
Yeah, 33 defense power, not doing a whole lot to soften that red dragon's bite. What an excellent kill for Xarnax here, and we'll see what he gets rewarded for with it. The armor! Ooh!
Oh boy, that's a big one, especially with a decent amount of swamp it's out there on the map, and we've seen Stop Spell come out of a few different enemies, but hold on, NESCardinality now with a pretty big find on the map.
Yeah, so we've taken care of all 3 of our search spots at this point, and we've got all 3 of our key items. We found the armor. The question is, how many chests do we have left, or how many locations do we have left to check for the sword? I think we've got Bonus Cave, the bottom 2 in Grave, and the back of Garenham. I think that's all.
Yeah, that sounds correct to me. So right now, Sharlock with the slight favorite in odds of having that sword, but very, very slight, so obviously a lot more exploration to be done.
And if that sword is indeed in Sharlock, it is going to make NESCardinality's decision to get that flame sword. It's really going to magnify that.
Meanwhile, Xarnax continuing to plug away at these red dragons here. It's almost like he heard me talking about the fact that the red dragon grind might not confer too much advantage and said, bet!
Yeah, the thing is with sleep on the red dragons is it's in version like 2.1, sleep was capped at 50%, and so when you're doing that, it's a 50-50 odds of being attacked, and with no heal more and that low of defense power, you're gonna have to hope something's behind that in order to give you a consistent enough opportunity to heal up. But now that he's reached those levels, Xarnax is going to continue exploration rather than the dedicated grind, and is going to explore this barren section of the first continent that NESCardinality already got through.
Yeah, it's worth noting that keys so far have not turned up anything gigantic, but we do know that the harp obviously is down in the mountain cave, and so hopefully Xarnax finds Rimuldar before too long. NESCard, however, making one of the necessary trade-ins. Chat noting that NESCard seems to be pretty far ahead right now, and I would agree that he does have a bit of an advantage. Again, having that harp already turned in, getting that staff, the gold grind also. However, Xarnax does know about the armor, and so that can also confer a bit of an advantage over time, and still maintaining that experience lead while NESCard did that gold grind. And so now we put ourselves in the situation of when Xarnax does get that key, does he also do that gold grind, or does he say no, it's a little bit too late in what could be a pretty quick seed?
Yeah, the gold grind, the value of the gold grind diminishes as time goes on, especially when you already have Erdrick's armor. Yeah. I had a really brilliant point I was about to make, but it completely slipped my mind, I'm sure.
DW Edit in chat noting that NESCard should know that the Red Dragon's guarding something. He absolutely does. Will be keeping mental track of all of those cursed belts. But right now, instead of trying to take that Red Dragon out, which he knows is going to be a little bit tough to do, prioritizing exploration for the things that he has not found yet. And yeah, I completely agree with what Z-Man said in chat. I mean, that silver shield, especially if you're sitting on a small shield, is a little bit tough to pass up. That gold grind's not nearly as long as going for all 3 big ticket items. So, could be looking for that plus 15 defense power at some point, but needs to find Rimuldar first.
Yeah, I'll also point out there's a couple of different ways you can gold grind. One of them being, you die in a cave and you go to the treasury and you set up something like that. But the other one is what we've seen in this one, which is that you have the mountain or the grave below the castle. And that's kind of a more natural gold grind, because, NESCardinality didn't dive that expecting to gold grind or intending to gold grind, but he came across gold and was like, all right, let's do this thing. And I think that natural gold grind is a more favorable option than having to go into a cave and death warp and lose your position and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it may be a more favorable and a more optimal type of gold grind the way that one plays out.
Absolutely, and over here on Xarnax's screen, did find Garanham. I'm not sure. Okay, now NESCard finding Garanham, and this could be potentially the spot that breaks the seed open here. We could see bonus cave in the back and have 4 of our outstanding chests checked already, and then it's just a matter of whether or not the sword is back here.
Yeah, Xarnax finding this before finding Rimuldar is very unfortunate for him.
I believe this death necklace pickup should confirm that the sword is on the map. I'm kind of doing that in my head here.
The token was on the map.
Oh, sorry, I mean in a search spot. So we still... Oh, wait, we have all our search spots covered, right?
Yeah, the token was on the map, the stones were in Cole, and the armor was on Hawksness.
Okay, forgive me, my brain is not working right now.
Xarnax finds the fighter's ring in the bonus cave. So we, at this point, are just down to the bottom of grave for any chance at at the sword being out of Sharlock.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not one of our runners chooses to dive the grave, as we do still have those 2 chests outstanding. It's a little bit tough sometimes to make a decision. However, I don't believe we're not particularly close to ghost stats, and with NESCardinality taking this death, I have to wonder if he's not going to consider checking the grave now to see if the sword's down there.
Yeah, especially knowing that the red dragon is the grind tile that you're going to be working with. You want to do anything you can to boost that offense. You know, if you only have to go 1 more level to get to ghost stats, well then it's no big deal. But if you have to go, 4 more levels, well then that die for the sword and killing each red dragon, 1 turn earlier could really be valuable. Not to mention you can do grinding on your way down to get it.
Underdog question in chat. Yeah, we did see the last chest in Mountain. It was just a pair of wings. And so now, chat wondering if NESCard was going to go check, go back to Hawksness, and has not done that yet. Chat also noting that NESCard may not have seen the sleep out of the red dragons. I have to think that if he had, he would have tried this by now. So I do like the idea that he just never saw it, and so doesn't know that he could be taking advantage of Stop Spell right now.
I'm pretty sure we first learned about sleep when he got slept by the one in Swamp Cave. He died to the one in Hawksness without seeing it, but then went to the spike tile in the swamp and did see the sleep and died from that. And since red dragons can roll pretty high on the sleep, that may be on his mindset of this may be a time sink, and I'm doing pretty well as it is, so let's just keep going. He does know from everything he's gotten that one of the Erdrick's items is in Hawksness. It's just which one is it?
Well, we're seeing a tale of 2 seeds here from Xarnax, as NESCard, his exploration has been pretty much just everything in the perfect order. He had keys when he walked into Garenham, he had the harp when he walked into the Trade-In Cave. Xarnax not so lucky.
Yeah, those keys... that Rimeldar find was really substantial, and it wasn't that far away from the exit to Swamp Cave, which is the most unfortunate part. I think NESCardinality is attempting to Death Warp now so that he can try that dragon in Hawksness. Having 113 hit points and the magic armor can make death warping in the swamp a very, very arduous process.
Well, NESCard's still opting not to check Hawksness yet. I'm not exactly sure where he's going from here. He does have that rainbow drop and could be looking to enter Sharlock potentially.
And that does feel like the direction he's going is towards Sharlock, so I think he's thinking, let's get that sword and then we'll grind on red dragons till the cows come home. But without the armor, that just seems like a really interesting idea. Oh no, he's probably going to Grave, which is right here above Sharlock, and checking those last 2 chests.
Yeah, I thought that maybe we had seen the Grave on the other side of Swamp Cave, but if this is the Grave right here, then that does make a lot more sense. Sees the Wombo combo out of the blue dragons. Oof.
which would make me even less inclined to want to go dive Sharlock for something prematurely.
Yeah, even at this late level of 13, only just now hitting 40 agility, which does give you a flat 50-50 to run from blue dragons, but you'd like that to be a little better. NESCard now looks like he's going to go check out this red dragon.
And meanwhile, Xarnax is looking at this little desert over here. He's only 150 experience or so away from level 14. He wants to hit that. Hope that that's got heal more, in which case then he pretty much becomes indestructible.
Yeah, let's see if he can land this stop spell, and if he does, he will be absolutely loaded for barrel momentarily. Opens up with a swing. He is not... I think he forgot they have sleep.
Well, he remembers now.
Yeah, this makes a lot more sense. Tilo, I think you're right that at the very beginning of the seed, I do believe we saw NESCard see that sleep out of these red dragons, and, just getting a little bit unlucky. I have to imagine he's going to come right back, but I have to think that he forgot or he would have done this sooner.
15014 and no heal more, so this next level is not really anything to write home about.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say this might bode a little bit better for Xarnax, as still getting that good experience along with his exploration, just not finding the things that he needs. And so maybe in Xarnax's position, you want that go level to become later rather than sooner. It's really hard to say. I mean, NESCard does have a bit of an advantage at this point, but it's not. I don't think it's decisive yet.
Yeah, I believe Rimmeldar is really close to Garanham, if I've read the map correctly, which means that if Xarnax heads, I think, a little ways to the west, he will come across that last little piece and will be good to go, exploring everything else. I think he's seen everything else that's not key blocked. But unfortunately for him, there are no free keys. He has to find Rimmeldar.
Alrighty, so NESCard now taking out that red dragon and does pick up Erdrick's armor for himself. I'll be curious to ask how he feels about this, knowing that Xarnax could have gotten that a lot sooner with the stop spell. I don't imagine it's going to be too impactful in his mind, as he did get that magic armor earlier, that he did that gold grind, but you never know. Sometimes you do feel a little bit behind when you find that armor late.
Yeah, definitely. I think kind of really what hits you in that is, how many times have I died because I couldn't heal, or because I ran out of resources healing, or because my defense power wasn't high enough, and all those kind of things. And he didn't have a lot of that issue. There were not many deaths once he really started going out into the world to deal with, so there wasn't a lot of places where not having the armor hurt him. The main one is using the resources healing while crossing the swamps. Now, while we're talking about the edge NESCardinality has, let's not forget what we've been seeing, which is the blues with sleep in DL2 and the reds with sleep, and they both have to make a full dive through Sharlock in order to get to the Dragon Lord, which means that pretty much anything can happen, especially when the agility right now is at 45.
Absolutely. I mean, there is still that possibility of just getting back attack slept by a blue dragon and getting sent back, or a red dragon, of course, but still have a few boxes to check before we start making that happen, and it looks like NESCard now is back in the vicinity of the grave, will be making that dive. 2 out of 9 odds that sort us down here, but you gotta check. You have to check.
Yeah, especially without Healmore and with this agility and these Sharlock monsters, I don't think there's any world in which the favored idea would be to go, 'cause yeah, you've got 7 chests you can go through, but you have to go through an absolute gauntlet just to get to those chests. And here you've got a much lighter selection of monsters to have to deal with.
Absolutely, and we've got the Red Dragon stats up here, and they confirm largely what we've seen so far. Pretty much no stop spell resistance to speak of, and 50% sleep, 50% bite.
They recognize that it's midnight on the East Coast. And that game's just trolling there by putting the magic key in the grave for behind the magic key door.
Yeah, you get that key refund, but it doesn't feel very good here, and 1 chest left to check, and I believe 1 loose key left, which would either be in here or Sharlock.
Cute game. Cute.
Now, up to NG noting that NESCard did not find bonus cave, so it is in fact a 2 in 10 as far as he knows. Thank you for the correction, chat. But now just, Sharlock is right there. Might as well dive.
Xarnax is coming across the red dragon at the spike tile in the swamp cave. I'm wondering if he's planning on doing a preemptive princess rescue. I do know that it seems to be that people who have chosen the Tove sprite are more inclined to want to do princess rescues for obvious reasons. But he decides no more of that red dragon and moves on. I guess he hadn't seen the swamp spike before. I'll also note that while the red dragon did roll a 1 out of 16 stop spell resist, Xarnax did miss his stop spell attempt on the red dragon at the spike tile in the swamp cave, which is part of what prompted his decision to run instead. And now Xarnax finally gets to Rimeldar, is going to have his keys, and is going to have a long set of exploration ahead of him, but at least he knows where everything is at this point. Oh, chat is correcting me. His fight against the Red Dragon, he cast Sleep rather than Stop Spell, and that was why it missed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a bit of a troll or or a miss menu, but yeah, that was the one thing that we did see. And so now it looks like NESCard is just content to grind on these red dragons until at least heal more.
As we've mentioned a couple times, it is worth noting that NESCardinality did not find bonus cave. He's probably not going to look for it, given that Sharlock's right there and the odds of it being the thing. But we know that it has the Fighter's Ring, and those two, if strength starts to plateau or whatever, those two extra attack power could actually be substantial in the long run. So that may be worth noting at the end. It may make it so that Xarnax has a better chance at the same level.
Don't forget, we do have that death necklace in play as well. So we could potentially see that as strength is still a little bit lower than you'd like it to be. And the HP, we're getting to that death necklace HP pretty quickly.
Yeah, with this HP and MP, I am more than happy to go with like 126 attack power, so they are not too far from that. I'd probably go even lower than that with Fairy Water.
DW edit, no grinds really to speak of. We've got red dragons on both spike tiles and in the top of the grave. We do have axe knights in swamp, but walking back and forth in swamp cave doesn't really feel very good.
So we do have Xarnax making his play into mountain. We'll probably have the gold. We'll see if he sets up the gold grind as well. Again, given that it will be kind of natural, he may be more inclined to do it. But given how late it is, he might be inclined to skip it too, especially since he already has a large shield. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the natural gold grind is one that's important to consider. He is already a decent chunk of the way there, relatively speaking. It wouldn't take too long to get to that 14,000 mark. But again, does he think it's worth it at this point as we cross an hour into the seed?
It's also worth noting that he's about to use up his outside MP, which means if he opted to do it, he would have to carry it out, which probably makes it less likely as well. But he is proving me wrong because he is starting his gold grind right now. I assume he's going to go up to 25,000 in order to buy both the flame sword and the silver shield because he knows red dragons are coming pretty soon.
Alrighty, so opting for the gold grind here. I do like this play. It doesn't take that long in order to get to that silver shield money, and you get yourself that 10 extra defense, which could be invaluable in a situation like this where your agility is just garbage, I think is the word.
That was an intriguing decision, an intriguing number to stop at, because he stopped like 600 gold before silver shield money.
Yeah, he stopped basically one gold chest before, and then ended up finding the another gold chest after that. So, but now he doesn't have the MP to outside, which is a little bit unfortunate. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and go up to 29,000 here so that he can death warp and still go get that silver shield. This is going to take a little bit more time.
The nice thing is, you go. What I would do in his situation, like you said, I'd go up to 29,000. Now you can death warp and get the silver shield. But if you can manage to walk it out, you can get both the silver shield and the flame sword. So there is still, it's not all for naught if you can get out. And I guess the flame sword is out of the picture because he's going to go for. He's definitely going to go for the silver shield at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go for the flame sword at this point. Silver shield is much more important. You pretty much narrowed down. I think for Xarnax, the sword is in Sharlock, so you're just going to be kind of running your way for that. And now just going to go ahead and pick up whatever he's going to top off his keys and go buy that silver shield, and he'll be good.
Well, he did leave that one chest unexplored, so he's probably going to go back and make sure that he's going to go get his very disappointing wings. We'll see if he grabs some extra gold on the process, because he does have outside. So this time around, he should be able to get through without a whole lot of issue and get out with all the gold that he's grinded.
Yeah, and again, this is just really tough for Xarnax as he really needs to start grinding sooner rather than later, as NESCard now, pretty much having found everything except for Stones of Sunlight Cave, has been grinding on these red dragons for a while and has nearly a... He's coming up on 3,000 experience... Sorry, 1,400 experience point lead right now, but it will only grow the longer Xarnax continues to explore. And a question in chat, what is a good agility for Go mode? Well, we in the community like to say that agility is nothing but a number, but in terms of the odds, you really want to be right around 80 or 90. 90 is going to give you a 50% chance to run from red dragons and armored knights. However, when you're in that 80 to 90 range, that's going to give you a higher defense power, which is going to be pretty important for that final boss fight.
I will just point out as an aside that we did just acquire a pulse slime on Xarnax's screen. And after mentioning that, I'll kind of second what you said. The benchmark that I tend to use is 72 agility as kind of the minimum that I'm comfortable with. And there's a couple reasons that 72 is the one that pops up to me. First of all, at 72, you are exactly 40% to run from a red dragon and better than 40% to run from everything else. So you at least have a reasonable odds of getting away. The other part is, if you have all the upgraded gear, Silver Shield, Erdrick's Armor, etc., then at 72 agility, you have 86 defense power. And the significance of 86 defense power is that's the minimum defense power at which the maximum the Dragon Lord can hit you with a melee is 48, which is the same as the maximum for Dragon Lord Breath. So you can always swing above 48, and that gives you a little bit extra security in those battles as well. So that's the general reason that I kind of sit at 72 as the baseline. But like you said, you really going in the 80s is much preferable, much more preferable.
Well, Xarnax now finally getting those coordinates and sees that they are pretty easy to count. Should probably cast that repel spell. We'll do so momentarily. And now it's a matter of... I know that Xarnax has seen Harp Cave, so he knows where to turn that harp in. Has he seen the Jerk? I don't remember off the top of my head where that was.
The Jerk is behind Garenham, which he has not been able to explore because he didn't have keys. So I'm sure after this, that's the first place he's going to go, is head back to Garenham and see what's back there, because he also wants to check back there for the sword as well.
Alrighty, well, 16 is going to be coming up here for NESCard momentarily. As soon as he can take out this red dragon, he will ding that level. Let's see what the stats bring. 3052, not exactly what you wanted to see.
0 agility. That's the one that just, you're like, okay, come on, game.
Yeah, we've seen double-digit gains on pretty much everything except for agility so far, so it's got to be hiding somewhere.
You know, and what I tend to do at agilities that are this ridiculously low, especially when I have my HP in the 130s, is when I dive, I tend to just swing at the red stuff and kill it directly rather than trying to run away from it, because I tend to get away from it in fewer turns that way. But when your red dragon has sleep, that's not an option. So you're going to have to start running, or else you're going to have to be willing to lose, however much MP on stop spells on the descent, which means you lose, you're going to lose heal mores and have to take that into account. So the red dragons and blue dragons with sleep just make this descent even more terrifying and even more of going to be an RNG fest. And frankly, if I'm in Xarnax's shoes, I'm thinking about the blue dragons of the scene, I'm thinking about the red dragons of the scene, and I'm happy about that, because I know, given the way my exploration has gone, that this is going to be my only chance, is for Charlotte to just beat NESCardinality up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you do have to rely on a little bit of a roadblock to get in the way. I mean, the roadblock here for Xarnax is really unfortunate. I mean, the tail of the seed. I mean, there are two. One decision. Xarnax resetting to get that hand axe once he saw it in coal is the correct play in that situation. But you never know when level 2 is going to change the game up, which is exactly what happened here. And then really the second thing is just not finding Rimbledar until late. Otherwise, I think that this is a much, much closer race. But still, again, with that Charlock, anything could happen.
It's also worth noting what we just saw happen on NESCardinality's stream there, which is that the red dragon, this bad agility, doesn't just mean it's hard to run from red dragons, it also means that you will get ambushed a lot by the red dragons, which in turn means that you can get slept and destroyed before you have an opportunity to even make the decision, do I stop spell, do I run, do I fight, do I, whatever. The red dragons could just show up and be like, yeah, no, you're going home. And Xarnax is getting his staff now, so he is about to head off for Garanham to go get his drop, and will be ready to start his grind as well. When he starts his grind, he's probably going to be around 4,000, 4,500 experience behind NESCardinality, which is not a fun time, but at the same time, that sounds really bad, and it's obviously not great, but red dragons at 350 experience are such a good grind that you can really catch up in the time it takes. One failed Charlock dive can make up thousands of experience.
Absolutely, yeah. And the deeper you get, the more it's going to benefit the person who's grinding. And yeah, I mean, with them having sleep and low stop spell resistance, yeah, it's going to help out here. Oh my goodness, 7-2, 14-3. Still not what you wanted to see.
I do feel like this. You have to try it at this point, though. 49 agility is just so absurd, but at the same time, with the Death Necklace, you're at 126 attack power. You need 18 swings to kill, or on average to have a great chance to kill the Dragon Lord at 126 attack power, and you currently have 17 heal mores. I don't know. It's tight, but I don't know, maybe if you're NESCardinality and you kind of found things in the way you did, you're probably feeling pretty good about your exploration. Maybe you're thinking you can go on. And I do know, just in general, NESCardinality is a little more conservative with his grinding decision-making. When his decision-making on when to dive, he tends to not be quite as aggressive as some other players are. And that tends to work out in his favor because he loses very few Charlock dives. So I think in this situation, obviously, he's showing he's more comfortable taking a few more red dragons and going to 18.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a comfy grind that it's hard to walk away from this, and you really don't want to deal with that massive variance if you don't have to.
On the other hand, if I'm Xarnax, I am leaving the second I hit 17.
Yeah, if you're Xarnax and you feel super behind, having found keys so late, yeah, the moment that you think it's at all in your favor, I mean, even if it's a 51% chance of winning, then you kind of have to go for it. I am curious whether or not Xarnax is going to feel a little bit better knowing the sword's not back here. Maybe not a huge difference here is the flame sword was available. It does confer a bit of an advantage over that hand axe, but maybe just one bit of nice information will be there for Xarnax. Quiet Tornado, Xarnax hadn't lost the Death Necklace, he just hadn't found it yet, but he does have it now. Both runners do have that Death Necklace, and so not quite a comfortable option for Xarnax yet. Is going to go for at least one more level, but we'll have to see if he considers it at 16 or even 17.
There is another potential thing that NESCardinality could be thinking about right now while going to 18, which is, while we're trying to wait for the agility to go up higher, if this attack power goes up much more, I don't even have to bother stopping for the sword. I can just go ahead and go right through, which in a Charlotte like this, not having to take those extra, 50 steps or so, could really be substantial. It could be the difference in a heal more plus, so that could potentially be in the back of his mind as well in this grind.
Absolutely, but don't look now. Xarnax now going into Charlock, and up to NG thinks he's going for the win. We'll have to see. Wow, just like NESCard, he takes 4 steps in, sees that blue dragon, doesn't get back attacked. Oh boy, this is... wow. Well, so far, Stonemen and Blue Dragons are the only thing he's seen. Star Wyverns as well. So maybe the lack of agility not going to be too much of a factor here.
Does he have any fairy waters?
I don't believe so.
My chart says that without fairy waters, you need 23 swings on the Dragon Lord. He's got 16 heal mores, 126 hit points, which means that that's not undoable. But it means you need to get down there with full resources at this point. Or you can hope that you find a couple of fairy waters in the Charlock Treasury. I know that paid off for me in a race earlier.
Yeah, that, I'm not sure if we've seen any fairy water yet. Trail's saying there were 2 fairy waters in the Treasury, so there might not be any loose fairy water waiting for us in Charlock, but... we'll just have to see what Xarnax chooses to do. This is... if this turns out to be a dive for the win, this would be legendary.
I have seen Xarnax specifically go for some pretty aggressive wins in the past, and they've worked out very well for him sometimes, and they have gone exactly as you'd expect other times. So we'll see how this plays out, but this is not an uncommon decision for him.
Well, Xarnax makes his way through that first floor, and you know what? This is a very small thing, but we just saw Xarnax open his menu 3 times in an attempt to kind of buffer when he walked onto that staircase. I wonder if he isn't feeling a little bit nervous right now.
Xarnax is opting to use some of that MP to take out the red dragons, or to get away from the red dragons, which is going to bring his heal more total down. I will also say, as Up to NG has mentioned in chat, in my analysis at 120 attack power, I was ignoring that with the necklace, he'll go down to 95 hit points, but he will go up to 130 attack power, which according to my chart, you're going to want 16 swings to do. That's going to be pretty tight. You're going to want to have all those you're going to want to have those 15 heal mores that he's got left when you get down there, and you're going to have to be comfortable swinging at 47, which is a tall ask when you're at 73 defense power.
Yeah, unfortunately, NESCard found the agility, and this is going to be probably about as comfortable a dive as you could ask for. So Xarnax choosing to punch his way through this red dragon, not exactly the fastest thing to do, but one way of getting it done, and now NESCard absolutely diving for the win, and does not, almost gets through the entire first floor without seeing a single encounter. My goodness.
Well, if he has Repel on, then he is defense breaking 4 Sharlock monsters already, and so that might be part of why he was able to get through, but I guess there are the blue dragons there that he still managed to completely avoid. Xarnax made an interesting decision there to go ahead and swing at the Armored Knight, deciding, hey, my dive is done. I'm just gonna start over now, and go back to Hawksness and grind. I feel like in those, not saying this is the right decision, but the decision I think I might have made in that situation is I'm already halfway down Sharlock. Let's go ahead and get the sword before I come up here to grind. Just burn all my MP. I'll get a good decent grind on the way down anyway, and then won't have that much further to go, if any to go, once I find the sword.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, now we're seeing a little bit of that potential variance here is, again, only about a 45% chance to run from these red dragons. And, I mean, sleep can always be a thorn in the side.
Yeah, fortunately for NESCardinality, he's going to have 139 attack power when he gets the sword, and that is just going to be... or 129 attack power, excuse me. And with that much MP and that much HP, he's going to be golden even if he has to burn a few heal mores on this dive.
Aaron noting that NESCard did try to run before using Stop Spell, and it can be hard to know what the right decision is in some places, but I think in this instance, you do have to open with that Stop Spell first. You've seen it be so successful so far, and really one sleep can just turn everything around. As Xarnax sees.
Yeah, even at 83 agility, you're only about a 45% or 46% chance to run from a red dragon. So even with that stop spell landed, he's gotta take a couple of tries to get away most of the time.
Question in chat, do you bypass the sword if you're NESCardinality? And looking at my notes, it is possible to do. He would be at 127 with the Death Necklace, and if he keeps every single point of MP that he has right now, he would be a favorite to win, but it would be a very long fight. And I really do think you just want to go for that sword just so that you have some extra resources available to you.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that maybe you're thinking Again, I feel like NESCardinality tends to be a little more conservative on decisions like this, so I think he'll probably go for the sword. But at the same time, you could be thinking, well, let's see if I have a bunch of encounters between now, in Zone 3, between when I get there and actually get to the treasury, and I see some bad stuff, well, then maybe I just say, okay, maybe I don't want to take those extra steps. But if all I'm seeing so far are Axe Knights, then I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, alrighty, time to get your bets out for this. Where is this sword? We do have, of course, Judge's Table, which NESCard has skipped, and we do have the 6 chests here in the treasury. I'm not as familiar with Pyramid Game as other people. I don't know the dollar values off the top of my head. I am going bottom left.
The bottom left will be the 50. And the bottom row goes 50, 100, 150. The next row it's 200, 250, and the top row is 300. At this point, having lost the MP that he's lost, I was thinking maybe he's also thinking if the sword's not here, then I'm, not going to go back to Judge's Cable, just move on. But with this much MP left, I think you have to go Judges if you don't get the sword. I don't think you're making it with the Death Necklace.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. You really do need you needed 120 MP just to be a favorite to win without the sword. So if you don't find it here, you really do want to go back upstairs and get it. And so, alrighty, well, 50 through 150 has been cleared. 200's been cleared. That just leaves 250 and 300 left.
And 300 is the winner. He continues to check the last one, hoping for the fighter's ring. It's not there, but it really doesn't matter.
Alrighty, and the unofficial winner of our sword minigame is going to be Centroid41. First person to put 300 in the chat, that was the correct value. And now, with 139, I have to imagine he puts on the Death Necklace here, so with 139 attack power at his disposal, this should be a menu correctly and you win type of fight.
Yeah, my chart at 139 requires 12 swings to win, so with 12 heal more still in his back pocket, that's pretty much a given. But these red dragons are certainly trying to make it interesting. That's for sure. However, barring these last 10 steps, showing another red dragon, the red dragon frequency was just perfect for NESCardinality to get exactly to the Healmore threshold and no further, so he's still going to get to go in with 12 Healmores.
Oh boy, NESCard, thinking for a little bit here about what he wanted to do, does go ahead and burn that Healmore, and this is fine. If my math is correct here, he has 2 Healmores to spare and should be able to expect maybe 1 or 2 doubles even after putting on the Death Necklace, although, is he going to put it on? Okay, there we go.
I didn't realize he had all that fairy water that he has already. So I think maybe he had thought through the Sword on Judge's situation or all the different possible permutations at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. That is interesting. I'll have to ask. I didn't notice those fairy water in his inventory either, but not going to be needing it now. Ooh, does take the back attack, unfortunately, but will still get 1 opening attack and preserves the opening double. 2 low physical rolls from the Dragon Lord. My goodness. And swinging right about the middle of his range here is NESCardinality. I want to say he's about 41 points of damage in, not quite keeping up with that count here. I want to say it's about 58 damage, give or take a few damage points. Alrighty, with that 17, I do believe we're at 116 damage. We've still got 4 heal mores left here. This should be in a 9. That's not something you want to see at this point, but a double is going to make this pretty much an instant lock. Should be just 2 more attacks from here.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where we're like, barring a miss menu, he's got this. But I'm not exaggerating here. I'm not sure that NESCardinality has ever mismenued a Dragon Lord fight.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if it ever happened. And now NESCard taking out that Dragon Lord will cast that return spell. Does not need to wait for the Princess text. So everybody, please get your GGs out for NESCardinality, who has officially finished in first place with a racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. Xarnax already congratulating NESCard on the victory. He will be joining us for that interview momentarily. And while we wait for NESCard to show up, Xarnax is, I believe, in Sherlock and he's declining to go for that judge's table, making his way through the U-shaped floor. And I have to imagine he's going to be trying this Dragon Lord, but he is only level 16. Meanwhile, NESCard has joined us here in the commentator's booth. NESCard, congratulations on that win. How are you feeling right now overall?
Feeling good. My strategy on this one was really interesting, and I have a lot to say, but I just need to change my settings, so just give me 1 minute here.
Of course. Take your time there. Oh no, Xarnax getting sent back. I want to say this is the second time, maybe even the third time, slept by the Blue Dragon. Is going to get sent back home, and let's go ahead and check race time, the race room here. Yes, Xarnax has officially forfeit from the race. So a bit of a misfortune there. NESCard, go ahead and give us some of your thoughts.
Okay, so I did not find the Stones Cave. I knew it was way out in the northwest, somewhere around Gorinham, and I was worried the sword could be there. So I developed my entire strategy around the concept of the possibility of winning without the sword. So I was grinding with the flame sword on those red dragons, and I kept thinking, I can buy fairy waters, I can get the fighter's ring if I need to, and as a backup, if I lose magic on the way down, I can check the treasury for the sword. It ended up being there, and that was really nice. But yeah, it was interesting for me because I was pushed into this position where I felt like if I went to the Stones Cave, I would just lose the race. So I developed a whole different strategy, and the stack gains worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely brutal, the situation that both runners found themselves in, NESCard. Yeah, we were kind of wondering, we kept talking up here in the commentators booth and in chat about the possibility of winning without the sword. It wasn't great, but it was there with all the resources you had available, and with the action being as back and forth as it was, we had actually missed you picking up all that fairy water, so weren't sure if you were going to go back to the commentator's booth or not, or sorry, the judge's table or not, to try to get that sword. But fortunately it was right there in the treasury for you. And now that we have Xarnax here in the commentator's booth, I'm going to turn things over to him. Xarnax, unfortunate there on the loss, but you put up a great race nonetheless. Do you want to tell us about your thoughts on the seed?
We might not have his audio yet.
Yeah, Xarnax might be muted or may need to set up push to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Sorry about that. What a mess that start was. I don't know how much would have gone differently. I was distracted by a bunch of things right at the beginning, including my the first minute, immediately when I started, I noticed my death counter was at 59,000. So yes, there was something. The cart was seated wrong. The power pack was seated wrong in the console. So I saw a death counter that was not right at all. I reset and tried to start again. I did a hard reset to just start a clean file, and then it looked like a mess. I don't know if it even showed long enough to come through on the restream. You might be able to see some of it on the VOD, but so
yeah, we noticed the hard reset, but not why. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I was in there were things going on in Discord and other places, like when the race started. I was distracted, and then that happened, and then the first thing I did was spend a minute killing a ghost, and then found a hand axe and reset, and then got level 2 hurt more. So it was a roller coaster.
Yeah, that beginning was interesting for both of you because NESCard, if I remember correctly, crit 2 Drakeys in order to get to level 2, and did end up picking up that hurt more right around the time that you were getting the hand axe. And so, we noticed. I mean, I personally, and I think this goes for pretty much everybody in that situation, would agree with what you did, Xarnax, resetting for that hand axe. But unfortunately, this was just one of those rare situations where if you just make it to level 2 first, you do get that hurt more. However, I will say, this one might be worth watching back because once you both get hurt more, NESCard had the experience advantage for a little bit, and then started and then when he did the gold grind, Xarnax, you actually had the advantage for a little bit yourself. But unfortunately, this is one thing I want to pivot to. It took you a while to find Rimuldar, Xarnax.
Just a little. I found Swamp Cave was the first thing I found, obviously, and that was happening that whole time I was when all my other distractions were going on, and it was an hour into the race when I was wrapping around the map, and I was basically going southeast from the castle and wrapping around the inside, and eventually came back around and was like, "Oh, a town and a cave," and I walked into the town and it's Cantlin. And I'm like, wait a second, what is that cave? Oh, that's swamp! That was an hour into the race. And so I hadn't gone through there at all since when I first started, I hero walked all the way through, but didn't see the town, of course. But yeah, it'll be really fun to watch back. I definitely felt the overworld was rough. We had no heal more, and there were some nasty Shylock enemies that sleep and hurt more. It was exploring was really difficult, and I never settled on one thing. Like every time I died, I started going a new direction. I didn't have any good place that felt any better to grind than anywhere else.
It was a pretty tough start. I mean, the agility was, I think hot trash is the phrase for quite some time. And yeah, pretty much Shylock enemies in every direction you went. I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to NESCard because I do believe we saw a lot of Shylock enemies on your side, NESCard. One thing I want to know, I want to go back to something real quick from the beginning of the seed. NESCard, you hurt more at a few Goldmen early on in the seed. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
Have you ever seen anyone get level 3 from hurt?
No, I don't think so.
It's just what showed up, and I saw that Cantlin was. I don't know if I had been in yet, but I think I saw the town there, and I thought to myself, let's get some money and see if I can buy something. I guess a large shield was on my mind at the time, but yeah. I was laughing out loud, hysterically at the fact that I got level 3 from hurt-mooring 2 Goldmen, and that I got level 2 from putting 2 Drakeys to sleep and excellent moving them both first attack for exactly 5 damage. It was just unreal.
One thing now that I want to go to is Hawksness. Hawksness is something that we should talk about for a little bit here. I believe we had seen early on the sleep from the Red Dragons. Both of you definitely saw it at one point in Hawksnest itself, but Xarnax, fairly early on, I want to say maybe 30, 40 minutes or so in, you stop spelled and killed it. Go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, go ahead, Xarnax.
Yeah, I mean, so at that point, what I was trying to say before, like about the nasty overworld, like I felt like I just couldn't get a foothold, couldn't get started anywhere, and I'll be curious to watch it back and see just how much NESCard had the same problem. But obviously, I felt, as everyone does, as soon as anything goes wrong, you feel behind, and when you're playing the number 1 seed, you feel even further behind. So as soon as I got stop spell, I was like, do I have the strength to take down a red dragon if it's 50% sleep? And as soon as I felt like I had even a chance, I was like, I have to go for this. And it, I mean, you saw my, like, as soon as I killed it, I got the armor, and that was amazing. And then I was like, oh, now I've got 4 times as much defense. Let me try it again. And then suddenly it stopped casting sleep. So I knew I got really, really lucky. And I felt like maybe that was going to... I felt like that may have brought me to even, because that really didn't seem like a feasible fight without heal more. And I really... If Garanham had been Rimildar, I would have maybe even felt in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, go ahead, NESCard.
I totally understand that. I was worried about Rimulder a bit too, but it sounds like I got there a little bit earlier than you. I don't want to spoil too much, but I did want to talk about, it was such a turning point for me when I went and beat the Red Dragon, and then I made the decision to keep grinding them in this virtually untenable spot where it was so unlikely that I would beat them, but I just kept beating them. And I said, okay, if this is what we're gonna do. And so yeah, I grinded with the flame sword and I got into this position.
I made the same decision. I made the same decision, but got immediately demolished on my first one. Although, but a big part of that also is I did not get a flame sword. That was a big regret.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the gold grind couldn't have come at a better time for me.
Yeah, just staying on the hand axe does make it a little bit tough, and yeah, I mean, NESCard, I think things worked out pretty nicely. Just going into that natural gold grind, getting all that money, having all of that gear, obviously really pays some dividends here. So next, let's look at the end of the seed a little bit from your end. You went into Sherlock, I believe, at level 15. At that point, are you just looking for the sword, or are you trying to win? What's going through your mind then?
I knew my agility was low, and there were some nasty enemies. But I also knew that if I could have a clean dive, that it was a winnable fight. So I figured there's no reason not to try. Because if it doesn't work out, I felt like, I also felt like, if I just try and grind until it's safe, I'm gonna be 20 minutes behind.
So Xarnax had no reason not to dive, and I had reasons not to dive, and it was because I hadn't seen the Stones Cave. I knew, again, it had to be somewhere in the northwest, but if it had the sword...
I did know the sword, or I didn't clear the basement of Grave. Those could have been the sword as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I just counted I was like, if those are the swords, then I lose. That's fine.
Alrighty, well, that I think is just going to about cover. I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to my co-commentator here, Tilo. Tilo, do you have any last questions for our runners here?
Not really. Just it was a great race. It was a lot of fun, a lot of wild variants going on, and just had a lot of fun. And GG, both of you.
Alrighty, GG NESCard. Any final comments on the seed?
Thanks so much for hosting us. I can't wait to watch it back. But yeah, the main crux of this just that it was such an exciting seed for me to play it where I just decided not to look at a cave for a sword and develop a whole strategy around that. It was uncharted territory, and it was really fun to try.
Yeah, and I have to imagine if we don't find that sword in the treasury, it would have made for an extremely exciting finish. We unfortunately missed the purchasing of the fairy water, but we saw that inventory when you went to go use that, when you thought about using that herb after fighting the stone man. But things did work out for you, and it was a pretty easy fight. Xarnax, any final thoughts here before we wrap up?
Yeah, I could talk another 30 minutes, but the one big thing that I was kind of getting at that I wanted to mention was that gold grind. I had it set up almost perfectly. I don't think I got flame sword. No, I wasn't thinking about flame sword, but I had it set up to get the last chest in mountain and then cast outside and then go buy the sword. But then on that walk to the last chest, I got an axe knight that I had to use my last heal more. I couldn't run away from. So I ended up walking back to the second to last chest to get 2,800 because assuming I was going to death warp out of the cave. That felt bad. But yeah, the whole seed was this is a perfect seed for this kind of race. Really challenging, a lot of difficult decisions, and a lot of fun to play throughout.
Yeah, I mean, even with... sorry, NESCard, go ahead.
Certainly a good challenge.
Yeah, a great challenge. Lots of decisions to be made. A wonderful test for two long-term veterans of the community. However, we are going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Don't go anywhere. Do not move from your seat. We do have a vodcast coming up immediately following the end of this broadcast. However, before we move to that, we want to please everyone drop a follow on both of our runners, NESCardinality and Xarnax42. They put on a wonderful show for you here tonight. And as always, huge thanks to our Restream crew. Please drop a follow on Camion and Centroid41 doing the Restream and pushing the buttons. And of course, myself and Tila bringing you the commentary, the play-by-play action. And as always, if you out there in that audience have not yet clicked that link to join that Discord, that is all you have to do to get yourself set up to be in this race. You could be the next NESCard. You could be the next Xarnax42 hanging out with us, having fun in the commentators booth, having fun in these tournament races. But in order to do that, you got to join that Discord. So just click that link and there will be dozens and dozens of people ready to get you set up. But until then, we are going to go offline briefly while we set up for that vodcast. Vertical versus Lord of the Synth coming your way almost immediately. Stay tuned, but until then, stay safe and have a wonderful night.
Enjoy the rest of the night, everyone.